Hi, I'm Diane, and I'm coming with you with just some tips to help you this week as parents. You are now pretty well into your new schedule, and you're probably having a lot of discoveries about your own personal style and your personal need for certain things, as well as your children's patterns and their behaviors. But take heart. We're going to have some great encouraging things for you today. As with anything in crisis or change or intense change, there are things that show out. Well, this last week I had my own personal crisis, intense change. I was inspired by all the baking that we're seeing going on, and I thought, I'm going to bake. And so the recipe I found needed nut butter. And I didn't have any nut butter, but a little Google search helped me see that I could make nut butter with nuts and a food processor. So everything was going really well. And then I turned off the food processor and I thought I should just test the nut butter to see the texture of it. And when I stuck my finger down in there, the blades turned. And you know how sharp they are. I never knew how sharp they are. They're sharp. So when I pulled my finger out and called my husband, and I was brave enough to let him look at it finally, he said, "Oh, that's deep. We have got to go to the ER." So I covered it up more, and I said, "Okay, wait, we'll just wait a little bit, and then you look at it again. Maybe you'll change your mind." And he said, "No, we had to go." Well, so the discovery that I had for all of this was that, I've been left-handed all my life, and I was thinking, well, that's good because it was my right hand that was injured, and I'll be fine. I found out that my left hand does a few important things like writing, putting on eyeliner, precision things. However, really what I found out, my left hand is bossy and lazy. Really what it does is it tells my right hand what to do. Hold that, take that, cut that, get that. I never knew that. I would have told you all these years I've lived, oh, I'm left-handed. And we all know what that means. You're left hand dominant. Well, evidently, my left hand is just bossy. So maybe you're having your own personal discoveries in your home right now, and you're realizing, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this is how I would show up, or this is how my kids actually show up when we're all living consistently under one roof. Well, take heart, because there's always good that comes out of hard places. In fact, greatness often comes and is birthed out of difficulty. So today I have just some points, tips that might help you make adjustments. A lot of times, I love to say, we've heard Pastor Verna say this, small adjustments bring radical change. So I'm going to give you some tips today. See what works for you, see how you can tweak them to maybe help your schedule go a little bit smoother. My number one is get to bed early. If you don't have a bedtime when you get to bed, you can't get up on time. And I find that if you can get up before your family, don't go, oh, and you can get a start on the day, and you can have just a little bit of personal space, whatever that looks like for you, then you usually feel a little bit more on top of it. But if your kids are coming to the side of your bed waking you up, you kind of feel the scramble. Even getting organized the night before, just to help you feel like, hey, I got this today. Number two, when your children are in school, they work very time-based. There are time periods. Even a teacher in elementary school, she has her template, she has her chart. She knows she's going to have reading from this time to this time, and story time and math and science, and it's all time-based. This is a great time if you'd like to try something a little different and see how it would work. Instead of having time-based, move more to a task-based. I'm going to have this attached to this video so that you can download it. But what I have here is a chart. Let me see if you can see this. with the light. The idea behind this is you can put down, this would be one for each child, you could put down the tasks that you would have, your expectation would be for the day. That would include chores that you want them to do, school assignments that they would need to do. And then the great thing about this is, I'm going to do this like this, maybe that'll help. Then this can be very self-motivating because they can begin to work on this. Children love to check boxes, and then when they've gotten their chores done, that's checked. When they've gotten, their grooming done or whatever else you want to put on there, when they've gotten their math done and their spelling done, and they can go through the day and they can check these. Well, the thing about this is really a life skill that you're presenting your children with, because life is really not about somebody telling you you're going to do this job from this time to this time, but you typically, if you think of as an adult, you have tasks that need to be done, and it is your responsibility to get them done, and you can get them done in whatever order you want to get them done, but we all know that the sooner we get them done, then we can go on to the other things that we'd like to do, the creative things or the fun things or the social things. And when we present that to our children, that's a great interpersonal skill that they are acquiring, that they could have. That's when they can have their screen time. That's when they can have their social time online. That's when they can have their free time and do creative things. And they don't have to keep saying, oh, Mama, can I do this? Mama, can I do this? Mama, can I have this now? Can I do this now? And it really helps foster and develop personal responsibility. Obviously, that has to be scaled for the ages of the children that you have, but it can actually be done even for young children. One more thing I'd like to say about your tasks is that remember that when we assign children their tasks or something like a task sheet like this, children will not just do what's expected, but what's inspected. So then when they say, oh, Mama, I finished everything on my task sheet, then you can say, oh, are you ready for inspection? And then let's just say, you could do it however you wanted to, but what comes to my mind is then I would check these things, and if they had checked it and they passed inspection, then I would highlight that, box all that in, and that would mean that those areas had been inspected. When children become accustomed to this, they will stop forgetting, oh, I forgot I was supposed to do that. It helps you not having to nag as much either, and maybe have a little more independent things that you need to get done. Okay, let's go on to tip number 3. Oh, I one more point on that. It also helps with pushback and struggle, because you can keep saying, well, are your tasks done yet? Okay, number 3, snacking. I heard a lot of parents say, my gosh, my kids are eating constantly. Just also that can be a time where you have a little more structure, where you get whatever you want to say, 2 healthy snacks during your task chart, or 3, whatever you want to say. And then after the task chart is done, you have your fun snack or your sweet snack. So that's another idea. 4, foster independent work. So if you will always run when they say, oh, Mom, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. It can be exhausting, especially if you have 2 or 3 children. And I can assure you in school, that's not what they're doing. So foster independent work. We can talk more about that in some weeks to come. I'm just going to keep going for now. Number 5, normalcy helps. Keep a general time block to your day. It's refreshing that we don't have to have everything so tight and regimented right now, but it is healthy to have a bedtime when kids are going to bed, when is a healthy time for them, so that you are still having some space at night that is quiet, the house is quiet, and you're having your own time. And it's good to have a morning time, a get up time, which can be later than normal, but it's still, that sense of normalcy is good. Lunchtime, snack times, or if we have designated that these are the snacks you can have today, those dinner time, bedtime routine, the normalcy of that really helps. Okay, number 6, your workspace. Workspace is important. It doesn't mean it has to be traditional and that you all sit at a table together. But I think if we look at our individual children and their learning styles, it's a great time to start discovering how they do well in learning. Some are easily distracted, and they do need to sit perhaps at a table where there is no distractions going on. Some like to sit on a sofa and work. It's a great time to understand your children's individuality and how they work well. Try not to enforce how you learn well. I worked in a school where this teacher she was developing a program through a master's degree that she was working on, and she was actually incorporating in her classroom individual learning style spaces, and children began to understand how they learned and worked well, and they began to have freedom within this classroom to either sit by a window and work, those who needed natural light, sit under bright light, sit in a corner that she had made this little cubby area with very soft light. Some sat at desks, some sat on pillows on the floor. It was a very cool experience to be a part of. Now, maybe we can't do all of that, but I think it's worth noting that we can start understanding our children's individual style. All children do well without a lot of clutter and external distractions going on. So begin to create a workspace that is conducive for your child's learning. Okay, number 7, and the last one, is have grace. Have grace during this time. Have grace for yourself. Have grace on your children. You know, when we get through COVID-19, as adults, there will be one kind of a framework that we'll hold. But I can assure you that children will have a different idea of what it looks like. My next door neighbor has a 10-year-old son, and I was asking her, and she said, oh my goodness, he is so excited to be home with his mom and dad and to have us at home with him and teaching him. And I think that is probably true of a lot of children. Just the idea of being at home with their mom all the time, or mom and dad, is a very unique situation. Going for a walk in the afternoon, taking bike rides. Well, where we live, maybe not, right? But, it's getting there. We're going to be able to do that. Making memories, playing family games. There's a lot less stress going on in the sense of the normal schedule. There is other stress, of course there is. Moms, especially if you're working at home and being the social, the teacher, the distance learning teacher. But this will have a different memory for our children. So let's remember that this is just part of the fabric that we're creating as a family and as a story. And it will be a very special time for a lot of children. So have grace for yourself. I am a person who loves to rehearse and remember things that I've read or heard said. And so I am a fan of 3x5 cards. So I'm going to read this to you in closing, because I feel like this really wraps up where we are in this time. Embrace where you are now. You can miss the moment of joy because you're focused on the burden of what are you waiting for? Oh, I can hardly wait till this season is done. Don't miss the beauty of the moment, the joy of today. God bless you. We are praying for you. We are standing with you. You've got this, mamas. You've got this. You are anointed for this. And we'll be back next week with some more encouraging words. God bless you.